Hello, my divinities. Welcome, welcome. I just want to remind y'all, we are in the middle of historic events, really. I mean, we always are, but these are of monumental proportion. But this is your daily reminder to not let that overwhelm you. If you watch the news and it starts really getting to you, click off the news. Do something else for a little while. Stay grounded. Go find something funny. Don't resort to tail spinning emotionally. That's not going to help. We need to stay. If we intend to do something about the current situation, we need to stay grounded. We need to stay focused. Okay. So let's go ahead and see what is the energy for today's collective. So we've got number 19, the moon, perception, and then we've got number 8, Scorpio, investigate. Overall energy is Aries, act. Okay, put this over here. Let's see how this pairs up with today's collective. Number 1, Aries also represents water. Aries asks you to remember your personal fire, your reasons for being alive. It pumps up the volume on your life force. Its energy is raw, exhilarated, direct, rude, passionate, and looking for a challenge. Use your wisdom to focus this raw power and give it a goal. Aries is the cardinal fire sign whose fresh, brash enthusiasm is symbolized by a headstrong ram. It rules the head and imbues initiation, new beginnings, spontaneity, rebellion, and rebirth. The sun shines here March 20th through April 20th. That doesn't mean that that's the only placement. That's just the sun sign, right? This could be your rising sign, your moon sign, your Venus, your Mars. It's not, this is just talk about this, those dates is only referring to the sun. Now, if you're born near that time, it is more likely that you will have other placements in that, sign, but that's not the only thing. Because rising sign could happen depending on the time, as in clock time, not date time. Anywho, action, begin, move into new territory, cut to the chase, be a hero, feel the call to action and thoughtfully respond. Clear the air and clear the decks. Be crisp and to the point, shoot from the hip. Set healthy boundaries just by being vibrantly alive. Express affection enthusiastically, spontaneously, and passionately. Work in short, intense bursts rather than long periods of deep concentration. Aries activates our inner adolescent. Direct orders can set off knee-jerk rebellion. Instead of telling others what to do or how they feel, express your own experience and opinion and speak in I terms. Set a challenge and let others find their own answers. Make sure all sides feel heard. If a person feels torn between meeting their own needs and meeting another's, they'll take care of their own needs first. So don't set this up as an either-or situation. Aries energy boils over quickly. If a situation threatens to erupt in conflict, get out, take a break, and come back later. Let's just talk about that. Take a break. Take a break. Don't let it rile you up. Challenge, because trust me, every time I see a Trump supporter, I'm like, you know what, bitch? And I'm like, nah, calm down. Challenge. Accidents increase when you're in a hurry, rushing through a project, or impatiently distracted. This flammable temperament can spark inspiration or spark a conflagration. Proceed with caution. Gift. Aries marks the beginning of spring in the Northern Hemisphere. After a long, dark winter, the dead landscape comes alive. Plants that were shorn of leaves or dormant now breathe new life. This is a brave miracle, and it can be your miracle. Feel the flowing inner life force. Trust this divine direction and summon the courage to begin. Okay. Number 19. Moon, perception. The moon, ruler of Cancer, speaks of the deep inner river of emotions, what motivates you, how you experience and express your feelings, and how you nurture and need nurturance. In your astrological chart, the moon is as important as the sun, even though it's much smaller. By a coincidence of relative size and distance, from our earthly perspective, the sun and moon are symbols of consciousness and unconsciousness, appear to be the same size, and this proportion makes eclipses possible. The moon cycles through the zodiac in 27.5 days, changing signs every 2 days and coloring our moods, habits, and behaviors. Action. First, perceive what unspoken emotional inner calling and patterns drive you. Look to your own moon sign. When you cooperate with your moon's emotional motivation, you'll find it easier to walk in harmony with your path. Next, investigate the needs and wants of those around you. The emotions underneath the surface actually run this show. Those primary drives are expressed through habits and actions, nuance and expression rather than through words. Look for that underground ocean. It carries the soul's energy. Speak to the insecurities that slow this process. Act in a way that helps others feel nurtured, warm, and emotionally connected. Make them feel at home. Tend the food, water, the home base. Like the moon, the energy in this situation will wax and wane. So assess the current phase and work with those cycles. Challenge. Look to feelings rather than logic to move the situation forward. Notice any strange responses to anxiety, touchy personal defenses, nepotism, xenophobia, subjectivity, or insecurity either in your motivation or in those around you. Tend to the fear that lies underneath these behaviors. Gift. You are one with the ebb and the flow. Watch what sign the moon occupies each day and let the moon teach you about its phases. Align yourself with those tides and make your life easier. Interesting. Followed by Scorpio, which is also ruled by Mars, which represents war, but it can also just represent a lot of triggered energy. Investigate. Scorpio asks you to dive down and reach into the wellspring of your soul. Scorpio's symbols are the eagle and the scorpion, as this sign invokes both sorry, long day. Invokes both the soaring heights of the eagle's perspective and the scorpion's ability to burrow under the rocks of the psyche or culture. The fixed water sign of Scorpio is ruled by Mars in traditional astrology and co-ruled by Pluto in modern astrology. It is connected to the pelvis and to the root chakra. The sun shines through Scorpio October 22nd through November 21st. Action. Drop assumptions and ask questions. Be fascinated by a mystery. Dive deep into the well rather than settle for the surface. Look under rocks and be curious, as this situation is going to require some research. Take nothing at face value. Probe the conscious and unconscious passions that motivate this situation. Be aware of the sexual dynamics in the room and what role they play. Look at worst case scenarios so you can prepare and then feel safe enough to search for the best case scenario. Be ready to transform and transmute the situation. Distill the essence. Concentrate. Play your cards close to your chest. It's time to gather information. Get the facts, work with that material, and introspect. Listen to both the facts and to your own intuition rather than to other people's opinion. Share only when you are ready. Appreciate moments alone. If you learn to be comfortable alone, you will have more bargaining power in relationships. Within the depths of your soul is your connection to the infinite. Search for it. Challenge. Question everything, including your own concerns. Jealousy and possessiveness drain your energy and waste time. Before triggering your defenses, the Scorpio sting. Ask if that response will get you what you actually need. Gift. Transformation. Scorpio loans you the strength and curiosity to plumb the depths and face your monsters, then soar to new heights and transform the situation. Feel the well within that connects to the collective source. Now, if we're going to look at this from the perspective of the conversation, give me a second. Okay, sorry. Smoke was getting to my eye. It was watering. If we're looking at this from the perspective of what I said at the very beginning about our current political situation, this could also be telling us that, people like me who have been losing their temper, watching Trump supporters fuck around and find out, because a lot of them are like, oh, you know, he didn't say this. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He was very clear about what he was going to do. And anytime that other people tried to point it out, Trump supporters were just like, you're fear mongering. That's not true. You're misinterpreting what he's saying. And now he's showing you, no, he meant exactly what he said. So it's frustrating. But it's basically saying to not take our anger out on these people, because a lot of the times it's they're what we need to understand, and this is where we really need to bring patience in. What we need to understand is why they made this choice. Why they made this choice to begin with, why it's even a problem. Now, this could also be more than just the political situation currently. This could be affecting us in other ways. We need to be aware of what emotions are driving our actions. Let's see. And we're going to be using my deck today, so I'm not going to be holding them up. Okay, we're starting with one of the Three of Swords, one of the Two of Pentacles, Three of Daggers, well, it's the Three of Daggers, Two of Diamonds, the Geode, the Seven of Claymores, and the Nine of Spears. Let's start with 5. With the Three of Claymores. See, I literally just made a video about this, and I uploaded it on, I think, all the social media platforms except this one, because, you know, I was running late for the reading, so I'll upload it before I upload this. But I think that what a lot of the information that's going to start coming up, guys, is that this is kind of like the karma of the United States. So we have the Seven of Claymores, and it's Aquarius Neptune energy. The United States, born July 4th, makes it a Cancer sun. And the time it was born makes it a Sagittarius rising and an Aquarius moon. So it makes America very happy to be the person that's like caring for humanity and stepping in and resolving issues in different countries. The problem is that America, or the United States, because everybody in North America, everybody in South America and Central America, they're all Americans, not just people from the United States. But the point remains that a lot of us, we've been taught, and I will say this, the only reason I know a lot of things that I know outside of the history of the USA, it's because my dad, especially my dad, my mom a little bit, but my dad mostly, is, you know, passionately in love with Mexico. My mom loves her country, but, you know, she's not as, my dad was all like making sure, the reason we speak clear Spanish, me and all my siblings, is because my dad was like, I do not want you speaking English in the house. You speak English everywhere else. In the house, you speak Spanish. But he also taught us the history of Mexico. And so we understood more than possibly other people from the USA how much this country was our country as much as it was every other person's. We never felt out of place, or we never felt like we were on foreign land. We've always been home. This was home. This was our home way before it was the home of the Europeans or the Christians. So a lot of lies have been taught to the United States public. It really has, about, you know, they make their historic figures seem like heroes, and a lot of them were just bullies and con men. And we're seeing it now in the sense that a lot of the countries like Venezuela, there's a list, there's a lot of countries. There's a lot of countries that the USA has interfered and helped destroy the infrastructure of the government. And then the country went to shit. And they took advantage because they get really, really good prices on exports. Meanwhile, the people are suffering, and everything is chaos, war zones. It turns into a war zone. And then they have the audacity to call it a third world country, an underdeveloped country. Who interfered with that country's development? And Mexico is another one. And so it's so galling to hear those things, knowing that they were the ones that interfered in the first place. And we are now going to be first-hand witnesses of how they do it, because now they're doing it here at home. So the overall energy is the Three of Claymores, Three of Swords. It's going to break the Americans, well, the people of the United States. They're going to be heartbroken. They're going to be heartbroken because they believed that they were being patriotic. They believed that they were doing the right thing for their country. And they're going to realize why we even have the large Hispanic community that we do here in the United States. Why we as Latinos don't really stay in those countries. Because the U.S.A. government, the government of the United States, has interfered and destroyed those countries and kept them at a certain level, because then they benefit from the resources and import a lot of different things from those countries. And the United States, the people of the United States have, I think a lot of them have known, because this was things I learned, the CIA thing and all, I learned that from people here in the United States who have been doing research. So this is not as, this knowledge is not as scarce as we would think it is. But I need to correct that way of thinking. The people of the United States have not done anything because it didn't really affect them directly. And they didn't really have the empathy to say, what could I do? And so the best thing that they can do is just open the doors to refugees and immigrants from other countries. And now even that's a problem. Like, did you know that today, I believe today, Trump passed a bill. I don't know if it's going to be accepted or not, because hopefully it gets rejected, but he's going to start sending Venezuelans back to their country. Do you know that they don't accept refugees, which means that if they go back to the country, they will die? Does he care? Does he care that the United States is largely responsible for how the country is now? So there's going to be a lot of things here, because we have the Three of Swords twice. I don't know why I lifted. I was trying to say Three of Swords, but twice. The Three of Daggers, which is Gemini, Jupiter, information, knowledge is going to come out. And then we've got the Three of Claymores, which is Aquarius, Mercury, about humanity, about our global influence at large. Because with the Geode, which is Virgo Sun, I think that there was a lot of offers being put out there. I'm just going to warn you right now. I feel like this is going to be a very political reading. And if you don't like that, which honestly right now is not the time to be like, I'm not political. Girl, our government is falling apart. We're about to be in a civil war. If this isn't the time to educate yourself on what the fuck is going on, I don't know when is. Are you going to wait until the military is like recruiting you, or what? I can't, because this is the problem. This is why it's a problem, because the people who voted for Trump did not educate themselves on what he was saying, on the things that he was putting on his manifesto. They were like, no, that's not true. They never even read what he said. They trusted what he was speaking in speeches, and then later on they would give it their own meaning. So if you are choosing to not educate yourself, I really don't know what to tell you. But go on, leave, because it's going to be a very political reading. I will say there's a positive side to it. I do think that the Scorpio energy, the investigative energy is here, because a lot of people are going to start investigating not only Donald Trump, but honestly, it's not secret. Anything he's doing is not secret. Everything is out there. But it might be made more public, because we have the Two of Diamonds, Capricorn, Venus. It's like the people of the United States are really going to start evaluating their values. what they value, why they value this thing, why they're so ready, why they're so reactive, so gung-ho, and ready to destroy. Clarify the Three of Daggers, the Gemini Jupiter energy. And I said a gung-ho because at the end we have the Nine of Spears, which is Aries Jupiter, and Aries, as we know, is war. So look at this. The first card to clarify that Three of Swords, Gemini Jupiter. Clarify Three of Swords, or the Three of Daggers. Ace of Pentacles. Three of Cups. With Temperance. I believe that a lot of this information is going to come from immigrants themselves. Like I said, a lot of people just assume that immigrants come here because, you know, I don't know, they just didn't have a job in their country and so they came here to take theirs. They don't realize their country is in chaos because of the United States government. And I'm not going to say the United States government is the only government that does this. I will be fair and say that that is multiple governments. It's the powerful governments that, you know, dissect and destroy other countries. But because we live in I personally live in the United States, I live in North America, then it matters because we're the ones that have Trump right now, who is representing one of the most powerful countries currently in the free world. And it's terrifying. It's terrifying to know that he's the one at the helm. So this combination, to clarify the Three of Daggers and Gemini Jupiter, it's like information coming through about when there have been coups in other countries, when there have been, you know, civil war breaks out, they get an offer, and the geode had already come out, Virgo Sun in this deck. So it was like an offer of help, of how can we assist you? And here it is. How can we help you have victory? How can we help you celebrate? And they're over here thinking with Temperance, look, and the Two of Pentacles, I'm telling you. They're over here thinking that it's going to be, you know, our values are aligned, we're going to get along fine, and then look at what's beneath that. Nine of Swords. Because they're going to realize, oh, this came with a price. This came with, you know, we can't do this and we can't do that. We're now their puppet, basically. Clarify the Two of Diamonds. Because right now, Musk is basically taking over multiple government agencies, right? So I feel like the investigation into him, because there are a lot of even political figures who are like, absolutely not. This man is not even born in the United States. He is not even a citizen of the United States. How is he with his hands on the Social Security of everyone? The person that's running the health department had a worm in his brain not too long ago. And when you hear him talk, he believes that people of color are built differently, DNA-wise, than people who are white. That is not, he has no medical background. That is not somebody qualified to... Any of this. There's just a lot going on that should not be going on. And when they start investigating, because they will, and look, they're going to start following the money, because they're going to be like, wait, what the hell is going on? And the people who are finally going to wake up in the other countries like Venezuela, and I'm only going to mention Venezuela because it's one of the most recent ones, but there's multiple. So countries like Venezuela, they didn't have a lot of the history that the people from the United States have, where we know what's happening. We know when a civil war is happening. We know when division is happening. We know when things need to change. Multiple times have we had protests and change, and Now, honestly, I don't know. The only thing I know about Venezuela is from the research I did. I don't really know their full history, so I can't really speak on that. For all I know, they did do protests. But my point is, we have seen our culture, at least I've seen, through our history, our culture change in leaps and bounds through the younger generation stepping up and saying, this is not okay anymore. Civil War happened because first the revolution happened because they were like, we don't want to be under the rule of the British. And then the Civil War happened because they're like, we don't want to continue, slavery. We need to abolish slavery. This is ridiculous. We can't have humans. We can't be treating humans like this. There's been a lot of reforms along the way, before, once upon a time, people of different ethnicity could not marry. And of course, that was abolished. And then there was the Jim Crow laws, which were just as sick and disgusting. Those were eventually abolished. So we have seen growth, and we don't want to go back. I hope nobody wants to go back. So the fact that this is Trump's idea of make America great again is basically make it racist again. Make it to where only the people that look like him, that were white, which honestly, white, what even is that? Because even Europeans are all mixed. Don't even get me started. Anyways, that's what he wants. That's what he thinks the golden age of America was. Without taking into account global events, without taking into account inflation, he just is trying to set us back into the 50s and the 60s, like that was the glory age. So, all the change that's happening, a lot of people will step up. And I've seen that not only in my readings, but I've seen that already. The way, people, the politicians are fighting, like, what the hell's going on? So this Two of Diamonds, Capricorn, Venus is like, they're going to start investigating. They're going to start following the money. And look, we've got the moon. The moon here is definitely the unconscious. So I think that on a collective level, not only will the people responsible right now being investigated, but the people who put them in office are going to start examining themselves like, why did I vote for this person? Because when Elon Musk did the Nazi salute at Trump's inauguration, I was like, if that isn't the clearest thing of where he stands on his beliefs. And then there were so many people who were like, that's not a Trump salute. I mean, that's not a Nazi salute. He's like, my heart goes out to you and blah. He never said that. To date, he has not come out and said that was not a Nazi salute. He has not ever tried to correct the way people perceived that. And when you go through his history and the way he expresses himself, it is very clear how he feels about the Jewish people. It is very clear how he agrees with the silly mustache man from Germany. So I think that this is really going to, the people who are sincere, because not every person that voted for Trump is a racist. I hope. I don't think so. I think that a lot of them really believed that he was going to improve the price of eggs. They really thought that he was going to improve the price on gas and groceries. They believed his bullshit instead of reading what he was actually going to do. So they're going to start examining themselves, which is great because this combination here, the Moon, Eight of Cups, and the Knight of Pentacles, they're going to start examining themselves very, very thoroughly. What values they hold that made them move towards a leader like Trump. And with the Eight of Cups, they're going to come to a point where they're like, no, this is, because Eight of Cups is Saturn and Pisces. That's like waking up from a dream, seeing reality, and walking away from it. And with the Knight of Pentacles, it's doing so consistently, decidedly. There's no hesitation. There's no, oh, I'm not sure. No, it's clear as day. Clarify the geode. Two of Swords. Right after I say no hesitation, no indecision, then we get the Two of Swords. Clarify the geode. Oh, okay. No, it's only clarifying why a lot of people were resistant at having somebody like Kamala Harris as our president. Because I was all for it. You know, I was talking about it constantly. Especially if you follow me on TikTok, you'll see I was constantly resharing, because I am not someone who is as politically informed as others. So I can't really sit there and with my whole chest educate someone else on something that I'm barely learning myself. So I would listen to people who break down laws, and they really do the deep dives and the readings, and they put the pieces together, and I applaud them. I think that they're very intelligent when it comes to that, and their information is supported by sources. That's why I trust them, because they pull up sources to prove their information. And so I would share those, and I was totally Kamala Harris supporter. So it's like, we had the chance. That's the Ace of Pentacles. We had the chance to have a different leader, because now I'm a little proud. I'm quite proud, not just a little, of the president of Mexico. She's badass. And the fact that she's one of my people and she's a woman, it's such a relief. It's such a relief to see somebody who is actually putting Trump in check, and who is coming off as someone who understands the concept of sovereignty, and yet also understands the concept of diplomacy. And I love that. And this is one of the biggest things that people are going to start asking themselves. I don't know if you remember, but when I did the reading if you listen to it, I did a reading about the TikTok ban. And I was like, what's going to happen with this? And I didn't realize it was only going to touch a little bit on the TikTok ban and then go into the political sphere, because I remember saying this is going to turn around really quickly within 9 hours. Maybe up to 12. Less than 24. Within less than 24 hours, they had removed the TikTok ban again, which is wild, because that's what I said. I was like, this is going to happen really fast. The situation is going to turn around really fast. And it did. But in the reading, I also said, the world is going to be looking to strong women. I said, I don't know why I'm seeing this, but there's going to be specific female leaders that the world is going to turn. I did not really think it was going to be Claudia Sheinbaum. And I'm sure there's going to be others. She won't be the only one. I believe Kamala Harris will be one of them. I hope. But this is a good time for the people of the United States to really look at their prejudices, look at their biases, why they make the decisions they make, why they make the choices they make. Because literally, Trump has the audacity to talk about immigrants being lawbreakers when he has 34 felonies. He is a rapist. He is a fraud, a scammer. And he has the audacity to talk about other people breaking I can't. Clarify 7 of Claymores. Clarify 7 of Claymores. Okay. Just making sure I didn't flip over the whole deck. So with the 7 of Claymores, we've got the 5 of Wands. Okay. It's very easy, and I'm going to include myself in that, because it is very easy when we are angry, because we wanted people to react a different way, and we were hoping that they would use logic and common sense, and that they don't. It's very easy to get angry and say, you know what, I hope you get everything you voted for. And I did say that. I even posted a video saying that. I'm not going to deny that. And it's saying, yeah, but you're not really educating people, though. It's easy to get angry. It's easy to tell them to fuck off and vent our anger, basically. And now everything that's happening to the Latin community, to the immigrant community, not just the Latin community, is so sickening that it does make me want to vent my anger on these people. And this is saying to not do so. I mean, well, we can do whatever we want, right? Obviously. It's just giving us advice. It's saying that we will help a lot more people understand reality if we're patient and we speak our truth, we educate them, we focus on them as fellow countrymen and not as enemies, not as, like, even if they could have done so out of ignorance, instead of pointing out that obviously they're ignorant, maybe try to help them, try to educate them, try to explain things to them. Because I'm going to tell you something. When Trump ran the first time, which is several years ago, right? At the time, I was still pretty conservative. I was coming out of it, but I was like at the tail end of being conservative. So I was kind of like, I was still had a lot of work to do on myself, but I felt like I had come a long way. And I thought he was funny at the time. I thought, you know what? I can support this man. He roused up a lot of people, until I came across people who understood the legal system, understood laws, understood, because I'm just going to be clear, I barely remember the Constitution. It's minimal, because the legal system is not my forte. So other people whose forte it was and would actually read the documents that the government puts out started educating me on what it actually meant, on not just what it actually meant, but on his history, how he treated people of color, how he treated the Latino community, the people of color community, basically, all of us. And I was like, oh, no. And I'm so grateful that I did have people around me who were patient with me and didn't look at me sideways and didn't start judging me, because honestly, they could have, because I was ignorant and I was stupid. And instead, they took the time to be patient and educate me. And now it's saying, well, now it's your turn to do that to others. Because with the 7 of Claymores, they have been lied to. They have been lied to about a lot of things. And if we want a change, instead of arguing and fighting and trying to make them feel bad or, guilt trip them for the decisions they took, instead, let's educate them. Let's explain to them, even if it is tedious and it is frustrating, try to put ourselves in their shoes and understand, where are they coming from? Why do they feel this fear? What education did they receive that makes them behave this way, before we can help them? Okay. Last one before we end part 1. Clarify 9 of Spears, Aries, Jupiter. So we get the Ace of Wands, clarify 9 of Spears. 9 of Swords reversed, 6 of Wands reversed. Overall energy, Knight of Wands, Knight of Cups. This is going to be a very unpleasant awakening for a lot of people. It's already happening in the Latin community. And this is where I know I'm really not as frustrated as I think I am, because it gave me no pleasure to see people who are Mexican and other Latinos who did vote for Trump start getting deported. I was just like, we could have told you that was going to happen. We warned you that was going to happen. It did not feel good. Even though I told them, I hope you get everything you voted for, because I knew what was coming. We knew what was coming. But because I listened to people who were more educated than I was. And they didn't. They thought that they were just lying to them because they made assumptions. And it really didn't give me any pleasure to see that. And they're going to see more of that. That's why the 9 of Spears is here, Aries, Jupiter, because there's going to be more and more instances where Trump turns against those who put him in office. And a lot of people are going to realize that they were used and then discarded. Now, interestingly enough, this is part of what's going to inspire a lot of people to start investigating him. Because they are going to feel like, wait. That's not what you said. That's not when you ran. We're not racist, or we're not, we voted for you because of the price of eggs. We voted for you because of the price of gas. And they're going to be terribly disappointed. But instead of being combative with them and, jeering their losses and we're all in this boat together, there's no benefit to them being taken down, really, to nobody. So maybe we need to be more patient, explain. I'm going to look for, there's a few people on TikTok, specifically on TikTok, because that's why TikTok is such a crucial app. And that's why Trump wanted to take it down. And then all of a sudden he gets all benign because he wants to buy it. Because TikTok is a huge source of information. Because it is a privatized company and the owner does not have a political leaning, they allowed people of Democrat, liberal, leftist beliefs to be clear, to educate others. Whereas Facebook, or Meta, because that's Facebook, Instagram, any other platform that he owns, Meta shuts down those conversations. So basically Instagram does too. And then Elon owning now Twitter obviously would do the same. So TikTok became a hub of people who started their own news channels and were thoroughly educating everyone else, which is why everybody was in a panic when they were shutting it down, because they're like, where will we get this news again? Where will we find someone who educates us that thoroughly? Yeah, it's an entertaining app, but that's not all it is. Like, to me, it's very educational. Entertaining is Instagram, not TikTok. So I really think that it's going to start being more and more clear. Like I said, I got distracted, but I'm going to get a list of people that I genuinely think are people that we should follow, that we should all listen to, because they know what the fuck they're talking about. Even if, like, one of them, he's so young. I believe his name is Dean, but he is so educated. That's like his life. Just like shadow work, tarot, astrology is my life. Politics, the legal system is his life. And this young man dives in and he debates so cleanly. I just, hats off to him. Like, he is chef's kiss when it comes to that. So I know he's one of the ones I'm going to share, but there's another one called Good Trouble, I think. He's another one I would follow. There's several. I'm going to make a list that if you want to educate yourself, and this doesn't just go for Trump supporters, this goes for everybody, because maybe there's people out there who are like, oh, I'm not political, I'm not interested in that. Meanwhile, our country is falling apart, literally. This is the time, guys. This is the time, okay? And it's not to inspire fear in you. It's that if we're not educated, we don't know what's going on, and we won't know what our rights are. We won't know what rights are being taken away, because right now everybody is in danger. Like, I literally just saw a video where there's a person who is non-Christian. He's gay. He is a Latino, and he's an immigrant. Laws on all 4 levels are now being set up. And he's like, so basically my whole existence is a problem to Trump. And it is, because all of these things are what he's going after. And it's going to start getting really, really difficult for all of us. So I'm going to share a few people that I think you should follow. If you don't have a TikTok account, or if you didn't, I feel sorry for you, because right now they deleted the app off of the Apple Play Store. They deleted it off of the Google Play Store. You can't find it. Unless you already had it on your phone, you would have to go to the website, I think, to like www.tiktok.com. And maybe then, but it's, I don't know. We'll see. Regardless, that's what I got for you up until now. I'm going to go to part 2 so that we can see what else is going to develop, because this is important. These are really, really important things that we need to be discussing right now. Okay. All right, guys, that's what I got for you. I will see you on the other side. And if you want to support, please, at least the emojis down in the comments. If you want to share more about how this impacts you personally, please do so. You already know that I love reading your comments, okay? Love you guys. Mwah. Bye.